All right. So Cheryl, I see you got your hand up.
Hi, thank you. Um, so mine ties in somewhat with what Allie was talking about. I've been the coach for overthinkers. It's on my website and women is for women, but women are aware maybe that they're overthinkers. They just don't necessarily see it as a problem. So over time,
Good. Okay.
I hear it all the time. Oh my gosh, that's so me. And yet it may be more like in a light way or a joking way. They don't really see it as the
Right.
problem that it can, because, and I have the symptoms listed and different things, but I'm feeling and seeing through the work I've been following of yours that I narrowing it down. So I have been working with one of the symptoms, which is people pleasing, women who are people pleasers, and how that's showing up. And then wondering if I need to refine that even more. I mean, there are a long list of symptoms for that as well. So
Yeah. Let me give this a shot here. So, okay. So what you're hearing, Cheryl say here is she has some clear symptoms, but they're not so painful that these women are like, oh my God, I have to do something about it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm such an overthinker, rolls eyes, So whenever we have something like this, one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves is, so what? So who gives a shit? So they overthink. What's the big deal? What's the cost? And one of the questions we can ask ourselves is, okay, if this pattern never gets resolved, what ultimately happens in their life? Now, you may get to a point where you realize, oh, nothing much, actually, it's fine. Then I wouldn't build a business around that. That's the bottom line. If there's no real burning issue, why do anything about it? Because I mean, I know there's so much in marketing, but you got to find the pain point, stick the knife in. But I'm talking about this in a different way. I'm just saying, why would we expect people to give us their money for something that's just mildly annoying? They probably won't. We wouldn't either. So it's just, if there's no real problem, there's no real basis for a business. So that's often my question. Well, so what? Who cares? And so is there something like that with this overthinking?
yeah, I mean, there definitely is. It's, or people who overthink tend to suffer from worry, chronic worry, insomnia. Their overthinking carries, into the middle of the night, that when they start waking up and they start, going down that rabbit hole of everything, so there are definite, but those are more of the symptoms of the overthinking, which then in and of themselves can be, I suppose, a niche, if that's,
Yes.
so as I've worked with this, and I've been doing this for months now, because trying to, sort of figure this thing out. And that's why, the question of women who are people pleasers, they are also overthinkers. It's just a different angle on it. And there are definite problems. And I do think that women who are aware that they are people pleasers, they know there's a problem there straight away. And when I talk about people pleasers, it's not, I've had a conversation around like whether like cultural, where everyone takes care of everybody. It's not that. It's people pleasing is one-sided, and it is at the expense of themselves. So they're saying yes to things when they want to say no. That so there are a lot of like little things along the way, and that feels more I don't know if tangible is the right word, but in a way, something that I can grab onto, I suppose.
Great. Yeah. And still with that one, it's good to dig into, okay, so they're people pleasers. So what? Right? What are the consequences of this? Where does this go long term? What's the final arrival point of this? And there may be multiple symptoms of it. But this can also help the same kind of exercise of which of those symptoms am I most passionate about? Which ones do I feel most competent in? And yeah, what is this costing them? because people pleasing and overthinking is a diagnosis. Yeah, this is our language that we give to their behaviors that sometimes they don't even have before they talk to us. But when we explain it, they say, oh yeah, I guess I people please. But they might not have come to us saying I'm such a people pleaser. They might not search that on Google themselves, though they might. And that's the big question, is to what extent are they aware of it, already looking for solutions on it. But so that's the diagnosis. And whenever possible, we need to translate that into their symptoms, into their lived experience. And one of the ways we can do this also is with a quiz or an assessment. You may have already had this thought, but how bad a people pleaser are you? Kind of a quiz. And it could go through multiple areas of life, for business, for personal, for romance, for parenting,
Okay.
because sometimes people go through that and then they oh my God, what? Everyone doesn't answer this way? Oh shit, I'm in trouble, And yes, and it can be very helpful to there's one of the best questions I know around niching is also just, what's the perfect moment for you to show up with the people pleaser? Like, there's a moment it's too soon. They're not ready for you yet. There's a moment it's too late. It's it's too far gone. They're going to need some proper therapy or something. But there's a sweet spot. There's a perfect moment right in the middle with people pleasers where it's best for you to show up. And usually that perfect moment has something to do with they're now aware this is an issue. They know they have to, it's a must now. It's not a should. I really need to deal with this. It's finally cost them something big. And now they're okay, I really need to. So there's probably other elements of it or facets of that perfect moment. And the more we can articulate that, because that's the headline. Yeah, on any sales letter, that's the kind of title of our homepage. We're trying to speak to this lived moment that they're in, that they would read it and say, oh, that's me, not that's nice. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Total sense. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, give it a whirl and see if you can bring it back next month.
Yeah, will do. Thank you so much.
Okay.